Well, Kathryn, thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I really enjoy reading and hearing about all the great work that the U.S. Government Accountability Office does. Your organization looks at so many different areas. This one in particular caught my interest because it really focuses on caregiving and a particular set of caregivers. So many Americans are under a lot of financial stresses and affordability, but this particular group is under a tremendous amount of financial stress. What are kinship caregivers, kinship families?
Yeah, kinship families are when children live with family members other than their parents. And there are currently 2.4 million children in this country who are living in kinship care families.
Yeah, it's a large group, and it has so many. Taking care of a loved one is so important. But if you're a grandparent or aunt or uncle, Kathryn, this probably puts a lot of financial strain on people and makes them, in some ways, choose between their own care and those of their loved one.
Yeah, if you look at kinship families, what we found is that most children are living with grandparents and older relatives. These are people who are no longer in the labor force. They're often living on a fixed income. So as housing prices and food prices rise, it becomes very difficult for these families. So affordability is a real issue.
And is this, just in terms of the rationale behind looking at this, creating this report, was it what kind of drove the mechanism behind it? What was the impetus? Is it that there was an interest in perhaps funding or providing the Congress some ideas for future programs?
Congress has had a long-standing interest in how these families are faring and ensuring that they have the supports that they need. And that's why they asked us to look at what's going on with these families and what challenges have they faced, particularly since the COVID-19 epidemic.
And it seems like post COVID, I mean, ever since COVID, and a lot of us feel the same way, a lot of strain. I mean, the inflation, affordability when it comes to food. Is that the sense that when you look at the data, ever since 2020, February, March of 2020, just that incredible amount of financial pressure, and it just really pokes at this particular group?
Yeah, it's not only the affordability issue, but also mental health needs of children. That is something that's really risen to the forefront since the COVID-19 epidemic. Kids who are living with relatives are more likely to have mental health care needs than other children. And yet at the same time, there's a shortage of professionals that are available to provide that care. So that's another big challenge that these families are facing.
And especially if you have a younger child, they're under 18, they're still growing developmentally, the brain, cognition, everything. Um, Mental health is obviously a very important part, but it could perturb or curb the development of the individual longer term.
Yeah, absolutely. There are long-term ramifications for not meeting the needs of these children as they arise. And that's why it's such an important issue.
So after this report, I believe, goes to the Congress. You're an arm of the Congress, right? And you go to the Congress with the report. What do they hope to do with it? Is it that they include it in a funding bill, kind of in some ways what we're going through today? What do they hope to use this information for?
Well, Congress plays a very important role because they fund the programs that can help these families. So there are several different programs that could potentially help these families. Like, let's say foster care. Very few kinship families participate in the foster care system. And the result is those families don't get monthly foster care payments. They don't get the health insurance that comes along with foster care. They don't get regular caseworker visits and a caseworker who's checking in on that family and helping connect them to other programs. So that is one gap that we see with these families. There are a couple of other programs that Congress also funds. One is called the Kinship Navigator Program for kinship families, and another is the National Family Caregiver Support Program. But a lot of families have never heard of these programs and they don't access those services.
It's interesting. So the program exists. Is there just a disconnect when it comes to the communication and education for these particular families to know that these are benefits? It sounds like if we just did a little bit better, we collectively as a society did a lot better communicating, these people would have greater access and therefore maybe lower their financial stresses a bit.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that is why we in the past have recommended that the federal government take more steps to educate states and to raise awareness about these programs and how to connect families to the services they're eligible for. But the awareness on the part of families is also an important component there.
And if someone's watching that falls into this particular segment of the population, where could they go to access information? I just want to make sure that people know. Do they go to their local state government? Do they go to the federal government, both, to find information?
Yeah, the best place to start is their State Department of Social Services or State Department of Human Services. Most of the programs are going to fall under that umbrella.
Well, Kathryn, we've got about a minute left, and I want to ask you, you're doing such important, you and the team. I know that it's a big organization. What other research do you have coming down the pike, maybe that either aligns with kinship families or maybe retirement or savings or all the above?
Yeah, I would have to say all of the above, particularly in the environment we're in today. There's a lot of focus on families that are in need and how can we better meet their needs. So we're doing a number of different reports looking at a range of programs that help low-income families.
Yeah, really important. We got to step up and help those in need, and education is part of it, but also making funds certainly available is part of it as well. Kathryn Larin, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for watching, and don't forget, we're back again tomorrow morning with another great expert and another great topic. You can tune in right here Monday through Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place, delivered directly to your email box. Check it out at our website.